Chris Cornell in the studio with us. GROCK 106.3, 106.5, Jersey's Rock Alternative. That from Scream, the record that hit stores in September, and Long Gone. You were out on Project Revolution this summer. You're doing the main stage sets, about an hour long, right? Mm-hmm. Wow, tough to pick songs. Tough to pick a set list. Because you've got this great new record, and you certainly want to give people a little bit of a flavor of what the record's going to sound like. And then you say, you know what, but my body of work is so big. How do you pick?
Well, I've actually been doing two new songs anyway, and then the difficult thing is like covering all of my history, because I've been doing that and I like to do that. And so to some degree, I'm kind of thinking about what songs people want to hear, and then I'm also thinking about what songs do I think inspire me standing on a stage and doing it, and that changes night after night. I'm not one of those guys that likes to do the same set every night for me, but I also feel like for fans, especially nowadays, when you can go online and you can see what set lists have happened at the 5 or 10 shows before your show, I think it's great that a fan is not going to be able to predict 100% what they're going to see from any given band.
Sure.
Linkin Park's do the same thing. They have different set lists.
Yeah, they change it up also. I would imagine it's pretty tough to sort of pin down a set list every night.
Yeah. Well, a large part of my day is trying to figure out what that hour is going to be, because and I don't know, it's like the same stupid problem every night. It's like, how can I fit more songs in?
Sure.
I can't. I can only do the same amount.
Well, you've been so well received too on this tour. Everybody's just like, oh, I can't wait to go see Chris Cornell. Can't wait to see Chris Cornell. So
it's a great tour, and everyone out there has been having a lot of fun and is really excited to be out on this tour. It's one of those ones where everyone gets along, and it's not an attitude tour. It's not an ego tour.
You're having fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Having fun. So Scream, the new record, we talked a little earlier with Chris about how he hooked up with Timbaland, uber amazing producer who has worked with everybody. I mean, you can't even rattle off enough names of Jay-Z and Madonna and Missy Elliott and Justin Timberlake.
Missy is where I first
me too.
This is actually where I first heard hip-hop and got jealous as a person in the rock genre.
Did you really?
Yeah, because I thought, how come rock bands have these rules where they can't sample or use synths or do things in a cool way like this?
Yeah.
Because Missy's records were so trippy.
Yeah.
And that like, I'm a fan of psychedelic rock from the 60s and 70s, like a huge fan of that, as well as like R&B and funk records from that period and later. And that kind of had all of these different flavors. And there's something about what Tim does, and I don't even know how many people actually really realize it, but it's very trippy, very atmospheric, very psychedelic. And I was really drawn to that. So that was, I guess, the first time that kind of dawned on me was like 12 years ago or something. And didn't even really think about it until I was in the studio with Tim. And on Long Gone, he started playing that first beat, and I was listening to it and thinking, yeah, this is a beautiful melody, but there's a trippiness to this that really motivated me.
Well, this might embarrass you a little, because I wanted to start talking a little bit about Tim, as you call him again. When I read you guys are working together, I read this quote from him, and he said the sessions that he did with you, the sessions I did with Chris, are some of the best work that I have done in my entire career. I'm sure probably somebody at some point has quoted that back to you. Got to make you feel good. Got to make you sort of say, geez, man,
Yeah, that definitely makes me feel good.
That's a big, that's a huge, huge thing to say. Best work I've done in my entire career.
Well, I think with Timbaland, he does produce records with people where I think from the record company standpoint, from the record label standpoint, they're kind of going in saying, yeah, produce our artist and do what you do. But they're also saying, but we also need a club hit, and we need a radio hit, and
the mashup.
We need,
give me the mashup.
Yeah, we need certain things,
yeah.
And you got to cover that, and in that way, it's a business. And with me, I've never had someone at the record company tell me to do anything ever in my entire career.
Yeah.
Before we even ever signed as Soundgarden to a major label, we said, oh, and by the way, nobody will ever tell us anything. And that's pretty much been the way it's been. And so with me, we didn't have any of that pressure or concern about doing anything other than writing and recording songs. And I think that for me as well as him enabled us to just be creative.
Yeah.
And that's why it's exciting. That's why someone's going to say this is one of the greatest things I've ever done, because you know what? It's like it's just an opportunity to be nothing but creative, not worry about these are songs that need to do a particular job, or this is an album that has to have a particular way to be marketed. And we've also done something at a time which if from a marketing standpoint, from the business standpoint, is completely contrary. And at a time where people are really listening to and downloading and sharing music one song at a time, and the attention span is so short, we've made an album really that is one ID. From beginning to end, the music never stops.
Yeah, I want to talk to you a little bit about that after we come back. I want to play Ground Zero.
Great.
And certainly, tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind writing and your vocals on this tune.
Well, the music for this and just the song itself, musically and stylistically, is a song that I've wanted to sing my whole life that I can remember. It really has. It has roots in a lot of different genres, but it really kind of reminded me of when I first sort of discovered soul music and R&B as a kid, and heard like Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On," that kind of thing. And it was the first time I heard soul or R&B with socially conscious lyrics, where it really, even more so than a lot of rock music at that time. That really touched me, and this song came together that way. Writing with a vocal producer I worked with, Jim Beans, who I worked with on the whole record, and we just walked in. The whole song happened literally in like 15 minutes. I was singing it without even instruments, just a cappella over a drum beat to get it down. And lyrically, it's about the tragedy of 9/11. In and of itself being a horrible tragedy, but the other tragedy that's come out of it is that being used as an excuse to do things that aren't good for our country, that aren't good for the citizens of the country, that aren't good for the victims of what happened, and aren't good for American servicemen and women. Obviously not good for our economy. It's been used as an excuse to do politically a lot of things that I think are really evil. And put that to a good beat. You got yourself
a great record. Yeah. Chris Cornell from Scream. This is Ground Zero on GROCK 106.3, 106.5.
When it all falls down, and the law don't count, and it don't seem fair, and the people don't care. Speaker on. Yeah. Like that?